Welcome back to the All Scale Slot Car Den. I'm Dennis, and if you've noticed, I haven't made any videos in a little while, and the reason is my mother passed, and there's, as if any of you've gone through that, it's an ordeal. There's a lot to do, a lot to go through, and we're going through it. Thankfully, I have a great family, great support system, great friends that have helped me through this, and great hobbies. Hobbies are great therapy to get through times like this. I'd like to dedicate this video to my mother, actually to my parents, because they instilled in me the joy of having hobbies and enjoying your life and really focusing on what you love to do. And so I'd like to dedicate this video to both of my parents. My mother, who has just passed, who's always supported me with the slot cars and the baseball that I was into, and my father, who actually got me into baseball and set up my first slot car track on horses, and so I can have a ball playing with them. I'm forever grateful to them. So this is for them. And to really dedicate this video, I want to make it a topic that really combines my eight major interests in life: slot cars and slot car racing and racing in general, and baseball. I love baseball, always have, and I'd like to combine them in this video. And the best way I think I can is I'm going to construct a major league roster using HO slot car brands that have been around throughout the years. And I want to make a team of 26 players or 26 slot car brands and put them all together and position them to utilize their strengths and really have some fun with this. And I hope you play along, and feel free to leave a comment on something you do differently, something you would construct your roster differently. It's great. We're all unique. We're all individual, and we all have opinions, and it's fantastic. And I'd love to hear it if you have other ways to do this. But this is how I would do it, and this is how I would do it today. Maybe tomorrow I'll have a different way, but this is how I'm doing it today. And I'm going to make a 26-man roster. And it's going to consist of, now you don't need to know baseball in order to, I just want to get this out of the way. You don't need to follow baseball, know the rules or anything in order to enjoy this video. Just like, now I'm calling this the Field of Dreams. This is a baseball from the Field of Dreams in Dyersville, Iowa. I took my son there back in 2005, and we played catch on the field, something that was incredibly important to me. We drove hours and hours and hours, my wife and my son and I, to drive just to play catch on that field and to reenact movie scenes from a movie that we love. And if you've never seen Field of Dreams, the movie, you will love it. I guarantee you. If you have any feeling for your parents, your dad, if you're a father and you want to, have a movie that you can watch with your children that you can really embrace, that's the movie. And again, you don't need to know about baseball. It's more about life, just like this is right here. You don't need to know about baseball. So I just want to get that out of the way. I'll explain to you the positioning as we go along. So I just wanted to make a fun video on how we can construct our roster. Now, most major league rosters are 26 players. This is going to have 26. There could be anywhere from usually 12 to 15 hitters, and then the supplementary number of pitchers to make it 26. In this particular roster right here, I'm going to have 14 hitters and 12 pitchers. And we'll explain as we go. This is all just for fun. All right, let's get into this. All right, so for catcher, the catcher is the backbone of your team, and he's the guy that really looks after your pitching staff. He's the one who settles in your pitchers. He calls the pitchers and pitches and makes sure everything's going correctly on the pitching staff. And he settles things down, and he's a stabilizing force, and he really is the backbone. And we're going to get into this by saying the Aurora Thunderjets would be the backbone. My catcher, my starting catcher, is an Aurora Thunderjet. And he's perennially cool and calm and has everything under control for the team. That's where it starts. And of course, you need a backup catcher, and that would be the Aurora Vibrator. Now, the Aurora Vibrators are older than the Thunderjets, but they're just as vital for that long-term stability for a pitching staff and for your baseball team. And you need that backup catcher just in case something happens. All right, so now let's get to the starting pitcher. Now, for this game that we're going to be playing, we're going to have one starting pitcher, although there's more on your pitching staff, and we'll get back to that soon. And the starting pitcher is the ace of the staff for this game. He's the face of the franchise. And I can think of no other than Aurora AFX to be a starting pitcher, face of the franchise. Out of all the slot cars, that's the one that truly holds down that position, that you can rely on. Now let's get to your first baseman. First baseman is the Tommy AFX. Now, Tommy AFX that maintain the high standards and stability during turbulent times. After the Aurora AFX went out of business, it was picked up by Tommy, and they ran with it and they stabilized it, and they made it to where slot cars didn't fade away, and they did a great job of it. And that's what you need, a solid first baseman over there to handle that. Now, second base, if you're not familiar with baseball, there's three bases: first base, second base, third base, and then there's home plate, of course, and there's the pitching mound, and this is the outfield. Now, if you put a second baseman on second base, now most of the hitters stand as a right-handed hitter, and they tend to drive the ball this way when they hit. So most of the hits are going this way. And sometimes the hits go that way, and a left-handed batter will hit the ball that way on most occasions. So if you have a second baseman standing on second base, there's got to be a lot of hits getting through the infield, because there won't be enough time for your other fielders to get to that ball. So what baseball does is they have two players who man second base. And one is the second baseman, and one is the shortstop. And in this case, the shortstop is going to be from Tycho. Now, Tycho needs to be quick and have a great range. And I'm electing Tycho as my shortstop because there has been no greater range of output of slot cars than Tycho. It ranges in every category of slot cars, from glow in the dark to motorcycles to trucks and trains, you name it. Tycho was involved in it. What great range. And that shortstop needs to have great range to field the ball that's hit from mostly the right-handed side going this way. Any ground ball, it's hit hard. He needs to get over there fast, and he needs to have great range. So that's Tycho, and that's your shortstop. And the second baseman is actually a Tycho Mattel. After Tycho was bought out by Mattel continued on making the Tycho line, and it worked well with the existing Tycho cars. And so they make a great double play combination, one on this side of the field, one on that side of the field, covering so no hits can get through here. And if there's a man on first and they have to cover, they're well in sync and coordinated with who's got to cover second base to get that put out and make a double play. What a perfect combination of Tycho and Mattel Tycho. All right, for third base now, we have Lifelike. Lifelike is covering the left side of the infield, and it needs to be, the third baseman needs to be well grounded, needs to be quick, and in particular needs to have a strong arm, okay? And Lifelike fits the bill here. That's the perfect third baseman I see. They call that the hot corner. You have to be fast and quick, lightning reflexes, and stick to your guns. And Lifelike is that. Over time, Lifelike has proven to be an excellent third baseman. Now, as with any team, you need backups. These are your starters. Now, this is all the infield. You need backup infielders, and those backups are Amrak and Rokar. And these are reliable veterans that can help groom the younger infielders. You know, especially they can help work with the Lifelike line over there, and they can all get their situation together and help out the young players. You need those veterans on your team, Amrak and Rokar. You need a utility infielder, basically a jack of all trades that can cover any position in case any of these go down or are just not playing well. You need someone like Johnny Lightning to step up, and it can cover most of these positions with ease. And so Johnny Lightning would be your utility infielder, and he can also play outfield too, utility infielder and outfielder. He could take the place of others as needed, including, in this case, the starting pitcher. He can actually substitute for the starting pitcher and blow out games, and he could throw some balls just in case it gets late in the game and you don't want to use your other pitchers. You put in a Johnny Lightning to cover you. All right, now left fielder. Now left fielder is a really unique position. They pretty much came out of left field, Marchand. And what better way to celebrate a left fielder than an airplane, a jet plane from Marchand just came out of left field. And this is your outfield, left field, center field, and right field. A lot of ground to cover out there. And what a great way to cover it with a jet plane out there. And just Marchand has made a lot of things out of left field, and that's very suitable for them. And now this one's going to be debated for centuries, but I'm going to stick with my guns here. And for center field, I'm going to say Auto World. You might think that's a joke, but you look at Auto World, and a center fielder, it needs to cover a lot of ground. And that really defines what Auto World has done for quite some time, and it's still going strong. Auto World, it just keeps on existing and keeps on getting people into the slot car hobby. This is what you see when you go to Hobby Lobby. You see Auto World cars. They're pumping out cars, and they're doing a wonderful job with their bodies and really trying to improve and step up their game. And we'll see where that goes. But for covering so much ground, we have to give center field to Auto World. There's a lot of ground to cover out there, and I think they're doing a great job. If you want to debate me, I'm fine. Go ahead. Just have at it. Who would you put as your center fielder? All right. Now for right field, this one's a tricky one. We are going to have Viper and a fourth outfielder. Teams need a fourth outfielder just in case one of those goes down or you need to pinch hit for them. You need that fourth outfielder, and that's going to be Wizard. And when you see these guys go, wait, you can't see? You can't see the Viper and Wizard? No, they're there. They're just so fast, you might not be able to see them. Slow this down to maybe quarter speed, and you'll see Viper and Wizard going around because they are incredibly fast. And they need to have very strong arms. So what better to have a Viper out there, Wizard backing them up as the fourth outfielder. They need very strong arms. And that's because when runners come around, if there's a hit and the runner's on second, he's rounding third and he's coming home, you have to throw very strongly and very quickly to meet that runner and tag him out before he touches home plate. And if you have somebody with a weak arm, he's not going to be able to make that throw and get that runner out. You need the strongest arm on your team right there in right field. And that is Viper, backed up by Wizard. Now, There's also a designated hitter, which never was around when I was a kid. I was a National League fan. My team was the Mets, and they never had the designated hitter. The American League teams did, and eventually now all teams do. So for a designated hitter, which is the pitcher's spot in the lineup, every player here comes to bat one time in order, and then when they're all done, they follow that same order throughout the game, 1 through 9, and they keep that same order. So that's the batting order. When it's the pitcher's turn, he used to bat in the National League, well, in all leagues, the pitcher used to bat, but someone along the line said pitchers aren't good hitters because they made it to the major leagues because they were outstanding pitchers. So they never really, most of them never really improved on their batting skills, and they would be considered an automatic out. Except for some rare cases, Tom Seaver, but that was an automatic out, so they replaced it with a designated hitter to take the pitcher's spot out of the lineup. I never agreed with that because it takes away some strategy with the manager, and I'm not going to get that deeply into this, but for a designated hitter who takes the place of a pitcher in the batting order, and it's a bit of a mystery person because it doesn't play the field. You don't see him. You only see him coming to bat, and if he gets on base, then you'll see him on the bases. But you rarely see the designated hitter. And that, to me, is Bauer. And I don't have an example to show you, but he quietly is getting the work done. Bauer is doing a great job in slot cars, and I believe that's the way to go for the DH, the designated hitter. Now, every team has a pitching staff, a starting pitching staff, and usually about 4 starters they need. It's vital. And this, of course, is the ace of the team, the AFX, the Aurora AFX. You need a second, a third, and a 4th starter. And when they're not pitching, they only pitch every 4th or 5th day, then you'll usually find them in the clubhouse, or they're just resting their arm, or they'll just run in the outfield before games. They're just resting their arm until it's their turn, their day to come up. And for those, they're not here, they're not present, I would elect for my 2nd, 3rd, and 4th starters to be Cox, American Line, and Road Race replicas. And they just need to hang on when it's their turn in the rotation, to not let the game get out of control. You obviously want to win with your ace, and hopefully with a couple deep in your pitching staff. And so as you can see, our starting pitching staff behind the Aurora AFX is kind of thin, so we may need him to pitch more often for our team. All right, and you'll have a spot starter sometimes, and it's basically the 5th starter. And since there's usually a day off once a week, teams get 1 day off every week usually. You don't need that 5th starter in your rotation because that's a day where everyone rests, and you can go right back to your ace on that 5th day. But when you do need that 5th starter, to me, that's Micro Skelextric. And he's a perfect spot starter, 5th man, or long relief man. He can log a lot of innings if one of your starters gets into trouble and has to leave the game early in the first few innings. He can come in and finish that game and do a very presentable job of it. He's stable, long-term, jack of all trades, and I think Micro Skelextric fits the bill for that 5th starter long man. Okay, and now we're going to get to the rest of the pitching staff. Let me move my catchers out of the way so I can get your pitching staff in here. And these are middle to late inning setup men. These are, if the starters can get you to maybe the 5th inning, they'll take over in the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings. And that would be companies like Dash, who really fill in admirably, and Bulldog with their chassis. This one's sitting on a Tomy AFX body. And let's go with Jag Hobbies. Jag Hobbies, this is on a TR3 chassis, and Jag Hobby, a great middle relief man to help keep your team in the game. Don't let things get out of control. And pitch with intensity, maybe for an inning, and lock it down for an inning and get to the next inning. Keep your team in that game. Now, the whole idea is to get to your closer. Your relief man and your pitching staff is all set to try to get to that ninth inning and get your closer in that game. And what better of a closer than Race Masters AFX? Establishes dominance late in the game and carries the team to victory. Race Masters AFX. What a perfect closer in the slot car world and for this Major League slot car team. Now, occasionally you get blowout games where you're just not in it. You're winning, you're losing 10-0, or other games where you're winning 14-4, and you don't want to use any of your valuable setup men and long relief pitchers. You want to give them a rest. The game's kind of a joke either way, winning or losing. So you put in a mop-up man, and what better mop-up man than AJ's Oscar the Track Cleaner? What better mop-up man to just go in there and lob some innings, lob some balls, and get that game over with and seal the win for you, or just get you to the next day. All right. Now, wrapping up our bullpen are a couple of veterans that can provide plenty of wisdom to the young staff. And that would be Tycho S. Tycho S was the original Tycho back in the 60s, just like Aurora T-Jets were to Aurora AFX. And what a better way to have some stability in the back of your bullpen, just guys there that the younger staff can listen to and learn from, learn their habits and their ways. And also Tycho US1. Now, Tycho US1 on the pitching staff, he could have been a great starter, but for every movement it took going forward, I don't know, its career path always seemed to go backward. That's what happened with Tycho US1. Still, a very great brand of slot car from Tycho. So that's my Major League team. And let's get to, at this time, I want to introduce my AAA team, my minor league team. Every team needs some minor leaguers, aside from your Major League team, that can grow or that can jump up in case of injury and fill in a roster spot. So this is my minor league AAA team, and it just happens to be stocked with some aging minor leaguers that never quite found their groove in the majors. And these were all pretty much slotless cars, such as the Aurora Accelerators, all slotless cars. And what else do we have here? We have Aurora Ultra 5 slotless. That's not the right chassis, but it should be a slotless chassis, the Ultra 5. Aurora Magnasteer, another slotless car from Aurora over the years. And Lino Power Passers. These cars just never quite found their groove in the slot car world. Carrera Servo. They still exist. They're a little hard to find, but Carrera ventured into the slotless, just like all these other brands, Lino, Aurora. And there are Ideal TCR cars, more slotless. I think everybody in the 70s and 80s had their hand in the slotless world. It just never caught on, so these guys are forever stuck in their AAA, on their AAA squad. But maybe one day they'll come back. If they have a great season, put together some good games, they'll be back And that's what I'm hoping for, because there's really a lot of potential there that was never really realized. Now here's Tyco TCR. Of course, with an incorrect chassis. And there is Tyco Command Control. And this doesn't have the command control chassis, but this is a typical body you'd find for Tyco, being on a command control slotless chassis. And last but not least, rounding off my staff, my minor league staff, is a brand of slot car, the HO slot car, that's kind of in a lane of its own, and that's Matchbox Speed Track. And if you're aware of Matchbox Speed Track slot cars, they don't quite work on the rails. The rail spacing is different from typical HO slot cars. So there you have it. That's my team. Please let me know what you would do differently. I'm really curious to know that, and just have fun with this. If this proves to be popular, I'll do this in 1/32nd scale as well. There's enough brands in 1/32nd scale to do this for. Maybe not quite in 1/43rd and 1/24th scale. There's not many brands to choose from. Maybe we can put together a pickleball team or something for those two scales. But I'm having fun doing this. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. And have a great day and enjoy your slot cars. Take care.